We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Buczynski. Partial sunshine develops here for today. We'll see high in the upper 40s. South wind around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy, low near 27. By Tuesday, partial sunshine develops. Wind will be high 38 degrees. Then by Wednesday, a chance for some rain showers here, cloudy skies, and we'll see high around 38. Thursday, some chance for still early skies becomes sunny, high 46. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Currently, it's 33.
The auto show event is going on now at Hot Volkswagen Joliet. Save big with invoice pricing. That's right, you pay what we pay and not 1 penny more. Choose from a huge selection in stock and ready to drive home today. Like Tiguan, Taos, Atlas, Atlas Cross Sport, and more. Plus, every new Volkswagen we sell comes with 3 years no-charge scheduled maintenance. Do a quick search and you'll see why smart people like you choose Hawk VW. The reviews don't lie. We're highly rated on Google, Carfax, Facebook, Dealer Rater, and we have an A-plus rating with the BBB. And we actively support our local community. Now is the best time to buy a new Volkswagen. We've got over 200 new Volkswagen models in stock and ready to drive home today, including the 2022 Volkswagen ID4, Volkswagen's first fully electric vehicle. Hawk Volkswagen on Jefferson Street in Joliet, online at hawkvw.com. Offer ends 2/28/23. For more details, please call 815-741-1100.
This is John Daniel, President and Business Manager of the Sheet Metal Workers of Smart Local 265. Workers across Illinois shared a victory last November when the Workers' Rights Amendment passed. There are some who believe that this was for the sole benefit of the unions. Although unions brought it to the table, we did it for the benefit of all workers across our state. If you work at a coffee shop, a sheet metal shop, or a corporate office, all workers deserve a safe and respectful workplace, a fair living wage to raise their families, affordable and expansive health insurance to protect their families, and a dignified retirement at the end of their working career. Unions fight every day for those basic rights. This amendment blocks anti-worker legislation that continues to negatively impact families across many other states, including lowering wages and unsafe working conditions. There was a lot of buzz when this amendment was up for a vote, but I believe the real buzz should be now. Let's celebrate a win for the working class. Learn more about us at smart265.org.
Chicago's progressive talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Hey, everybody.
Sending Pam Morris-Walton through.
Okay, thank you so much. Pam Morris-Walton, how are you?
Santita Jackson, I am wonderful. How are you this morning?
I am doing fine. Do you want to be introduced as Pam Morris-Walton? Is that your preference?
That'll be fine.
Okay, all right.
That'll be fine. And you know what? Later, I'll give you the full title, subtitle of my book.
What is the subtitle? Please give it to me now. Wait for a New Heart?
The Wait for a New Heart sparks a spiritual journey of faith and love. Sparks.
A spiritual journey of faith and love.
That's it.
Okay.
That's the full subtitle.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Let me get this. Whew. Okay. Just trying to get these other little pieces together here.
How are you?
Oh, I am, doing fine. It's just I'm always running in the morning, pulling these because, it's a news show, right? So I'm always trying to pull like the last,
60 seconds.
And of course, everything changed this morning with the president being in Ukraine. So I had to do some moving around with my show. Devin, is it possible to add one more minute? No, we can't. This is just going to be late. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Here we go. Here we go.
10 seconds.
All righty. Let's have a great show. Thank you, Devin. So glad you're with us today. Always. And there's that. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Santita Jackson Show. Hope you had a marvelous weekend. I certainly did, and worked straight through it, but I'm grateful to God that I had the strength and the health and the opportunity to do so. So glad that you're joining us this morning. We have got a surprise visit by the president to Ukraine. What does all of that mean? We're going to be talking about that for a few minutes at the bottom of the hour. We have to wait for all of this to unfold, and then we're going into the mayoral campaign all week long. I will be interviewing the candidates. I'm going to reach out to the mayor today, and I've reached out to Congressman Garcia's office, but today we're going to have Jamal Green and State Representative Cam Buckner. And as we had Alderman Rod Sawyer kicking things off on Friday. We want to know what their positions are. Who are their constituents? Of course, they will be all of Chicago, but who's their base? And what do they make of this campaign? And what do they hope to do? Why are they running? What do they hope to do when one of them becomes mayor? Because someone is going to become mayor. You know, you can vote in your wards right now today. So please get out and vote. Voting wraps up on the 28th of February. But voting day is really voting season. And so we're going to be talking with Dwight McKee, Katie Kurth, and Kevin Lampe about how the discussions ought to be framed. What should we be talking about in this election? Corporate media have shaped the discussion to talk about crime and only crime. But the fact is, Americans have a lot of concerns. Chicagoans have a lot of concerns, and we're going to be talking about that today. On Monday, February 20th, 2023, everybody. Let's get to some of these headlines. In Chicago, we'll have a high of 42 degrees today. It will be partly cloudy. In Minneapolis, 37 degrees. There will be snow. The NBA All-Star Game. I mean, were they going to play for 200 points? My goodness, it was such a high-scoring game. LeBron James' 19th appearance. Wow. Can you believe he came out of high school, skipped college, and went right into the NBA? And he's still going at it. Everybody, LeBron's team, however, they fell to Giannis's team, 184-175. Wow, everybody. And everybody had a great time out there in Salt Lake City, Utah. Jason Tatum was the MVP. We dedicate the show today to President James Earl Carter, affectionately known to all of us as President Jimmy Carter. 98 years of age. He has entered hospice care. You know, he has battled cancer over the past few years. He's had any number of health challenges, and even through that, he continued to teach Sunday school and advocate for the least of these all around the world, showing us what an American president should be, could be, embodies so many of our hopes. Well, he has entered hospice care. He says, I don't want any more treatment. Had a great life. And so we are sending him our love and prayers today, President Jimmy Carter. My father predicted in 1980, as he was most unpopular president of that moment, he said, when he leaves office, in time you will see he is the most decent man perhaps to ever occupy this office, and he will be the most popular president of our time, if not of all time. And boy, my father was prophetic about that. President Jimmy Carter in hospice now, but we just celebrate his life. What a run, 98 years of age, and praying for his wife, Rosen, and his children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. today, everybody. In the NHL, Chicago 5, the Maple Leafs 3, and the Wild 4, and the Predators 3. And of course, the NBA will be returning to action over the next couple of days. I am Santita Jackson. I want you to call me at 773-763-9278, 773-763-WCPT. Let me know who you are going to be voting for in this election. Who you got? I mean, we've got 9 people. We have an embarrassment of riches, if you will. 9 people who are running. And it doesn't look like any of them are going to break 50%, but I can tell you what, there will be 2 people in the runoff on April 4th, should we have one. Who are you going to be voting for and why? Have you made up your mind? Many Chicagoans have not. And so we've talked with Alderman Rod Sawyer. We will be talking with Jamal Green and State Representative Cam Buckner today, Sophia King this week, Paul Vallis this week, and I'm hoping to speak with everybody else. I certainly will be reaching out today. So, the surprise visit of the president, that is the headline today, the headline. So, and the people of East Palestine, Ohio, are still struggling, everybody. Some people have even reported melting skin. That's right. And they are saying that they're having coughing fits and they're getting sick. What do you make of all of that? Indeed, East Palestine residents were told that the water was safe after there was testing paid for by Norfolk Southern, the railway company, whose trains it was their accident. They are worth $53 billion. They have offered $1 million in total to everybody in that area. About just unbelievable. About $1,000 per resident. What do you think about that, everybody? That's right. And Joyce, happy birthday. You are in Memphis celebrating your birthday, sending you much love. Hey, Paula. Hey, Barbara Bacon out there. And was it, are you in Oak Park? That's right. I love it. I love it. And Dave Dowling and all my morning stars, everybody. Like and share the show. Like and share the show. Hey, Laura, like and share the show. Like and share the show. Jewel up there in New York. Then Eric Burrows out there in L.A., Shirley in beautiful Philadelphia, of course, praying for John Fetterman, your senator as well. But we have got Pam Morris Walton, our gospel sister, someone who's an icon in the world of church radio and really in the Black church. We are so grateful for her. You've got to get her book, 57 Days. And thank you for reminding me of the true subtitle. Wait for a New Heart sparks a spiritual journey of faith and love. 57 days. Her wait for a new heart sparked a spiritual journey of faith and love, everybody. Get the book. You never know that she's had these struggles with her health. God is good. Pam Morris Walton, love you so much today. What is the good news?
Good, Santita. I'm so happy to be alive. I'm so happy to be alive.
Yes. We need that, and we need that. We absolutely need that. Need that zest that Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman used to talk about. You've got to approach each day as the gift that it is. So, come on, help us get going today.
All right. Today, good morning, everybody. Good morning. And today I want to talk about this. I want to give you some inspiration as I can on counting your blessings. Matter of fact, count your blessings. Count your blessings. Look at Santita. Look at the people that she is able to get to give you information. Your blessings. The lady is blessed. Count your blessings and remember, stress is a distraction to your blessing. Stress is a distraction. You from fulfilling God's call on your life. I'm not talking about anyone else's life, but your life. You cannot be all things to you. You cannot. God can. You have to focus on being what God wants you to be and doing what we want you to do. Whatever you are called to do in life, I'm speaking with you. You must learn how to keep stress from distracting you or destroying your peace of mind. You can learn to live with what Scriptures describes as the peace that surpasses all understanding. It tells us in Philippians 4:7, and the peace of God, which passes all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. For finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. Things are people, places, situations, circumstances. They flow in and out of your lives and sometimes turn our lives inside out. But one thing can be unchanging and constant in your life, and that is God. He has blessings prepared for you. Blessings that will transform you. Blessings that will keep you sane when the rest of the world
is crazy.
Blessings that will give you a firm grip when life seems to be more than you can handle. And in closing, when upon life's pillows you are tempted, when you are discouraged, thinking all is lost, count blessings and name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. Count your blessings and name them one by one. Count your blessings and see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, and you will see what God has done. Stress is a distraction. Count your blessings. Thank you, Santita Jackson. Have a wonderful rest of the day, week, and program.
I love you. Thank you for blessing me. Count your blessings one by one. We're getting a little bit of feedback. We're going to work that out right now. Dr. Shanina Knighton. Oh, I love you, Pam Morris-Walton. Thank you so much, everybody. 50 days. Wait for a new heart. It is for all of us who know and love her. And so many millions of us do. It's Wait for a New Heart. Sparks a spiritual journey of faith and love. Amen, amen, and amen. We have got Dr. Shanina Knighton in Ohio, in Cleveland specifically. We've been talking about East Palestine, Ohio, and I know there's so many things that we can talk about today. But I do want to ask you about what one should do should this kind of event visit any of us. We could all be in the midst of some environmental emergency. And now we're seeing that many people, the testing has been sloppy. Indeed, the testing for the water safety was paid for by the rail company. And people there are saying that, I feel sick. My throat is burning. My skin is melting. I mean, we're hearing some real horror stories. They're watching the wildlife. They're watching the fish die. They're watching their pets die. And on and on and on and on. Yet many of them cannot afford to go anyplace else. And that's most Americans. Most of us cannot afford an emergency room visit. So my question for Dr. Shanina Knighton, and this has reached Cincinnati, in fact. For a time, the people of Cincinnati were told not to drink the water. And people are concerned now, many are not concerned about the water as much as they are concerned about the soil. They said this has permeated the soil. What does all of this mean? I don't know, but I know that as an infection preventionist, you can help us to should we hear those sirens blare? Should we see a message pop up on our phones or on television? What should we do? Should we keep a supply, for example, of bottled water at home? I mean, if your eyes are burning, what do you do? Just give us a few points, to help guide us, because we're all vulnerable, Dr. Knighton.
Good morning, Santita. And to your point, the vulnerability is one thing, and it's always so easy to say what you would do when you're not in that situation. So I just want to acknowledge that. And send condolences, heartfelt, sympathy out to those individuals that are currently in that situation right now. And the one thing that I continue to always preach is that prevention is better than treatment. And I talk about the whole notion of like staying ready so we don't have to get ready. It brings up a bigger conversation, and while this, let's say, was something that was unplanned, unexpected, that's typically how disasters happen. It's how disasters strike. It's how things occur, and it's at times when we're all vulnerable. We can all be vulnerable to, let's say, whether it is the East Palestine situation. Right now, as we're in, let's say, wars, and you mention this all the time, Santita, just the fact that nothing stops somebody from coming over here just because we got objects right now that nobody knows what's going on, but they just don't happen to be hovering, right? Things can happen at any point in time. It could be weather related. It could be war related. It could be, a disaster because something, blew up or set off. We've seen these things happen. And when I thought about this situation, somebody might say, well, this isn't a 9/11 because two buildings were not crashed into. However, the one thing that we don't take into account is just because something does not kill somebody or impact does not mean that people won't have long-lasting effects. Hence, when we think about 9/11, now, even still right now in 2023, you have those family members, those grandchildren, those great-grandchildren that are receiving some sort of benefit because of the long-term consequences, of being exposed to radiation and the chemicals that were the unintended consequence of having that incident. Right now, individuals in East Palestine are experiencing that same exact thing. So yes, initially there may have only been so many injuries or deaths, but now that you're looking at, the fact that people may have compromised soil, they have compromised water, you say to yourself, am I so far removed from that situation? I urge people, yes, keep in bottled water. If I can afford $4 to go out and get a pack once a week or once every couple of weeks, just to make sure that I have it on hand. Even if you cannot bathe regularly in that water, but you need to take your medications. Because again, individuals that live in neighborhoods or places that are of lower income are more likely to be suffering also from chronic conditions. They're likely to be having, situations of where they might be having congestive heart failure or some sort of other heart disease or some sort of respiratory illness such as chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. They may have high blood pressure. So just because disaster strikes does not mean that these issues that we know is plaguing 2/3 of our population goes away. That means people need to be taking their medications still. And so the question is when disaster strikes, do you have medications that are put up? Do you have water to be able to take those medications? Because that right there in itself, taking care of self, is one of the most important things that you can do initially. That actually, believe it or not, Santita, making sure that you are taking care of, let's say, whether you take thyroid meds on a regular basis, getting that type of medication in your system is going to make a big difference opposed to you deciding whether or not you need water to drink or water to bathe. You need water to take your medications, right? So that's one of the things that would be important. The other thing is, yes, we do need water to be able to drink. This is not advertising for any particular kind of company, but there are, let's say, like life straws where you can get X amount of gallons of water as you may have to, let's say, use water from the stream. From my understanding, straws are actually supposed to filter out chemicals and things out of different things out of the actual water. Is it perfect? No. But it should take it on a mechanism that could potentially exist. And I know that I'm stuck on water. But believe it or not, water does so many things that we just take it for granted. We need it to eat. We need it to bathe. We need it to do absolutely anything. But just being able to secure some of that, even in these situations, that would be one of the most important things that I can point out today. I know, Santita, we can go on and on and on about preventative measures, things to be able to look out for. As I think about infection prevention and control, waterborne illnesses are a real thing. So when you think about a waterborne illness, how does that occur? It may occur from standing water. It may occur because someone doesn't have a way to drain out water, or if the water is contaminated because of the sewage system, it's then compromised because of many different bacteria and funguses that can live in the water. So that is how it relates to infection prevention and control. So I continue to emphasize, first and foremost, when you don't think of anything else, think about the importance of water.
You know, and Americans live with so many conveniences that we take a lot for granted, that we just take for granted that we can walk over to the faucet and turn the water on and that it's going to work, that our heating systems are going to work, that our cooling systems are going to work. Many, if not most people in the world do not live with that kind of assurance, that their grid, their power grid is that strong, and our infrastructure is old. It is more than a century old. Think about that, everybody. Get that bottled water, get those wipes so that you can keep yourself clean, because personal hygiene, your physical hygiene, can also impact your health. We got to talk about that tomorrow, this hygiene poverty that we've been talking about. But, you know, we love Dr. Shanina Knighton. Hey, Dr. Nina, at HEYDRNINA. She can give you a lot of information about that. Please pray for the people of East Palestine, Ohio, and not just Ohio. It's an issue that is, quite frankly, that's going to concern all of us and consume all of us before it's all over. Let's talk about Ukraine with Bryce Green in just a few minutes on the Santita Jackson Show. Hey, Dr. Shanina.
Hello?
Hey, it's me. 'Tis I.
Hey.
How
are you?
How are you?
Doing pretty good. Can't complain.
Uh-huh.
You know, look, I understand it's Presidential Monday, but it's a Monday because work's still working.
How Girl, you are a hot mess. That's your hashtag. It's not hey, Dr. Nina. I'm gonna give you a hashtag. Hot mess. Hot sizzling mess. How about that? Girl, you are just as crazy. Oh, you know what? Thank you. You reminded me I need to call Kiana today. And let me see it, girl. I'm trying to do so many things at one time, but I'll get it all done. Praise the Lord, with the Lord's help. And just got to get these things done, get these people in. Yeah, just trying to. Oh, I know you do. You know.
You enjoy your weekend?
Girl, yeah, you know what? I just had, I came up with a little food hack. I love chicken tortilla soup. And I got some chicken tortilla soup yesterday. And, bottom line, I boosted it up. Girl, it was so good. Oh, honey, by the time I added my black beans, a little bit more corn, and a little cream, some butter, and this, and some taco seasoning, and some rotisserie chicken, and girl, look.
Oh, you had a good time.
Yes.
That sounds like that dancing around.
Girl, look. That's all I wanted. And I was really tired when I got home because my baby sister, Jackie, is in town. Well, actually, she just flew out this morning. And so I went to see her after the show, the Keep Hope Alive show yesterday. And so I was a little tired, but I had to see her while she was here. And so I was like, I don't know if I really want to try and cook when I get home. She said, girl, go on and make that soup like you really want it. I said, you're right. As soon as I got home, I started making it. And I bought some ears of corn because I'm going to add, next time I'm going to just get some fresh corn and add that because I love that. Oh. So
I know, but that's what's so funny because, how you done did something good.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Girl, I mean, I'm so happy. I mean, and I'm happy that I could eat it and it, it actually stayed down. D Ray, I'm going to reach out to Dr. Deborah for Holden and get her back on. And Brother Dwight will be on in a few minutes. I'm about to bring him on so we can talk about this mayoral race. But right now, we're about to talk about Ukraine because I even surprised Bryce Green this morning. I said, the president went to Ukraine today. He said, what? Yeah, so that's kind of where we are today. What did you, Dave Dowling? You said
60 seconds.
Okay.
Dwight McKee, Kitty Kurtz, Kevin Lampy, Bryce Green, and Sperther.
Okay. All right. Love you, Dr. Shanina. You can listen, but I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, I love you too. So tomorrow when we do get time, I want to talk about this boiler explosion that happened in Cleveland a day ago.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Let's do that tomorrow.
Okay.
Let me know if you want to extend the time on that. Let me know.
Okay.
Okay. Absolutely. Make sure everybody's no one's on speaker, and that everything is quiet. So stand by, everybody.
10 seconds.
This is the Santita Jackson Show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Santita Jackson Show. Surprise, surprise. President Biden is in Ukraine. Please get out of there and get home, Mr. President, quickly. Oh, my gosh. We'll be talking with Bryce Green about that in just a couple seconds. Well, literally in 1 minute, but we have got a big event. Chaparral is honoring her son. They have a foundation and they're having a big event. They're sending kids to college and they need your help. Chaparral, what's going on?
Yes, good morning, Santita. And we are sending kids to college at the Courtney Copeland Memorial Foundation. And we're having our gala, which is going to be on March 3rd. We're less than 2 weeks away. So we're asking everyone, if they can, to go to our website at www.copelandmemorial.com, www.copelandmemorial.com to purchase your ticket. And all of the money that we're raising will go for our programs, including our college scholarship fund. So please help us out and come to this gala. We're going to have lots of fun, dancing, music, entertainment, and we're going to give away an award. So give us a try this year and give us a call at 708-628-7734 or visit our website at www.copelandmemorial.com. Thank you so much, Santita.
Absolutely. Chaparral Wells doing great work for the community. Everybody, before we bring up Kitty Kurth, Kevin Lampy, and Dwight McKee to talk about this mayoral race, we're going to have Jamal Green on at 7 and State Representative Cam Buckner at 7:30. We're going to be talking to all the candidates. I'm reaching out to them as we speak. Of course, I surprised you, Bryce Green, as we were all surprised. I heard the breaking news maybe about 4 o'clock this morning that President Biden had gone, that he is in Ukraine today. So talk to me. And this is after Secretary Blinken, is, I guess, warning China not to send military assistance to Russia. He says he says China might give weapons to Russia. I mean, it seems like this is becoming much more serious. Bryce Green, your reaction?
Well, there's been a lot of debate within Washington about how exactly we're going to continue supporting this war. If you go back to just a few months ago, there were almost no voices who were saying, well, maybe we should look towards negotiations. Maybe we should look towards another option. But a lot of it started to change as the situation in Ukraine became more clearly a stalemate, and it became less likely that the Ukraine would be able to completely repel the Russian invaders. If you go back to last December or last fall, you can see the statements from our own chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying that, well, maybe now in the winter it will be time to negotiate. And we're seeing some wavering among support in Congress and just public opinion in general. And so it's not exactly clear what this visit was designed to do, but one of the reasons that it could be to strengthen the ties between Ukraine and U.S. at a time where European allies are wavering, at a time where domestic support is wavering, and so this might strengthen the U.S. resolve. But also, this might be a sign that negotiations might be on the horizon. There have been all sorts of speculation that the Beltway in Washington is trying to have a soft landing from the massive amount of support that we're giving to Ukraine. And so this impromptu visit may be a reflection of that or a part of that process. It's difficult to say exactly, but this could be a positive development.
I hope that it's a positive development. It would be wonderful if this is opening the door to peace. But of course, we will have to see. Everyone is surprised by this. And you heard the sirens blaring, but we hope that this will open the door to peace. How likely do you think that will be? I mean, you had Ron Paul and Dennis Kucinich uniting the right and the left in voices asking for us to end our involvement in Ukraine. That is U.S. involvement in Ukraine. And even though the corporate media are telling us the opposite, more and more people, not just Republicans, are calling for us to end our involvement. It's costing us so much money. And when you think of the people in East Palestine, Ohio, and so, I mean, you had an explosion in Cleveland. We're going to talk about that with Dr. Shanina Knighton. It's just, we can't do all things at the same time, Bryce Green. How much money have we given to Ukraine? And just kind of help us to tie a bow around this, because we're going to have you back in the morning to talk about this, should you have the time.
Well, it's hard to track exactly how much money that we've given to Ukraine, given the complexity of the funding structures. But in terms of total aid, we've given them well over $100 billion, well over the annual Russian military budget, well over the budget for the American State Department, well over the amount of money that we give to a lot of good causes in the United States. And it's important to notice that this money passed without the ritualistic asking of how are we going to pay for it. Mm-hmm. It's because they don't care how we're going to pay for it. They understand that we can print money and use our money how we see fit. They understand that we can continue to support this proxy war and that there'll be no resistance in the Washington Beltway. And that's been a serious problem. The Stop the War or the Rage Against the War Machine rally, it's something of a positive development within the American political sphere. But I think that the reason, if there is a move towards easing tensions in Ukraine, towards finding some sort of solution, it's largely driven by the ultra-hawks in the American establishment. Many of them are concerned that America is focusing entirely too much attention on Russia and Ukraine and should be focusing instead on countering China. We've already seen the inauguration of several new military bases. We've seen joint exercises. We've seen a lot of increase of tensions in the Pacific theater, especially following Nancy Pelosi's provocative visit to Taiwan. Congress is planning another provocative visit that they know will be provocative to China, and China will likely react, and the U.S. will use that to bolster their presence in the Pacific. And then we continue this escalation spiral. So there's no guarantee, at least for me, that the easing of tensions in Ukraine, if that is what's happening, will be a 100% positive development, just given the nature of the people in charge.
Bryce Green, everybody. Fairness and accuracy in reporting. Fairness and accuracy in reporting. President Biden is in Ukraine as we speak. We pray that he will have safe travels and will be able to get home safely. And praying for all souls who are involved in that conflict over there. Praying for the safe resolution and the quick resolution of this war. Sending you much love. Thank you so much, Bryce Green. Expect you to have even more information tomorrow when you come back on the Santita Jackson Show. Blessings to you. Blessings to you. Everybody, we have got this mayoral race here in Chicago. We have 9 candidates. Will anyone get 50% plus one? Doesn't seem so, but it does also seem like we have a driving issue shaped by the corporate media. And what has ensued is now someone who appears to have, at least in this 9-person field, a solid lead. So I had to bring on this crew to talk about it. We have missed Kitty Kurth, but she has been around the world. This brilliant political consultant, organizer, Democratic strategist, political strategist. We're so glad that you are back. And of course, Kitty Kurth's husband. That's right. Kevin Lampe. At least that's how we affectionately call him. A credit to your gender, Kevin Lampe. And then Dwight McKee. It's what they do to women all the time. But you're such a strong man, and we love just the work that you and Kitty Kurth do jointly. And of course, the brilliant social scientist, Dwight McKee. Let me start with you, Kitty Kurth. I'm sorry we had to abbreviate this segment, but with the president, who you were just with last week, with him going to Ukraine, I said, we've got to at least talk about this, because my heart just jumped when I heard that he was there. I mean, and I said, I just want him to get out. I want my president to get home. I really do. And we're just praying for him. But what about, what should we be looking for? I'm going to be interviewing the candidates all week. We're going to have Jamal Green, who's impressed so many people, just with his grasp of policy and the issues, and State Representative Cam Buckner, who's done the same. He's impressed so many people. These are young people who are really aiming to make a difference. What about the corporate media shaping of the campaign, shaping of the message? And what about these candidates? I just want your assessment. We have missed you, Kitty Kurth.
Well, I've missed you, Santita. First of all, I just think we need to applaud both of these young men. They're really smart young men. They've both got good and interesting ideas. And I think for the long term of our city, we should just thank them for being willing to step up and run. But then ask them why they're running. Why are they running? What are they going to do about affordable housing? What are their plans for the economy, short and long term? I know that the discussion has evolved a lot around crime, which I do think are on a lot of people's minds. But we've got to get behind that. We've got to look at making sure that people have jobs. How are we going to educate people for the jobs that are going to exist this time? I think that's where we need to start the discussion.
Amen. People and repopulating the city. More and more Chicagoans are moving. It's just unaffordable. Kevin Lampe, what about this? What about this discussion? Of course, we are at Rainbow Push. We will be having hopefully a debate. After, if we have a runoff. First of all, Kevin, do you think we're going to have a runoff, or do you think that it will be decided on the 28th?
We will definitely have a runoff. I think it's going to be. I think the polling and what we're hearing on the streets is that Paul Vallis is going to be making the runoff, and then the question is who's going to be the second. So we're going to have it's going to be a tight group there. Fighting each other for that second place or first place in the runoff, and I think we're headed for a runoff, absolutely sure. And so that's what we need to do. It's a shame we don't have ranked choice voting in the city, but this is the system we have, and so people need to get out and vote and make sure they get the candidate they agree with the most.
Well, the corporate media have shaped the campaign in that. They have zeroed in on crime, but many people, as you and Kitty both know, and Dwight McKee, people are asking about more than crime. Indeed, you've zeroed in on Paul Vallis, and the privatization of our public schools, dog whistle politics in particular, which is something that no one's really talking about. But law and order is these are dog whistle politics, Kevin Lampy.
It absolutely is. And I think we need to talk about other things besides just the policing in general. I think we need to talk about misconduct. The Sun Times over the weekend ran a editorial about Ronald Bob, the corrupt Chicago police officer who wrongfully participated in the wrongful conviction of hundreds of people. And the city's going to end up paying millions and millions of dollars in lawsuits because of this misconduct on the police department. I think it's important to ask whoever's going to be the next mayor, how we're going to turn this around, how we're going to stop police misconduct, which is costing the taxpayers millions of dollars every year.
Dwight McKee, as you see it, how do you see this? How do you see this campaign? Is it about crime only, or is that the number one issue, or is it about other things? And what do you want to hear from the candidates?
Well, excuse me, well, they've made it about crime. And they use crime as a foci for the campaign. But the fact of the matter is that issues that's as important as crime. What has made crime such an important issue of this campaign is that you've always had crime in the Black community. Now you have crime popping up in other unconventional communities where they're not used to crime. And so it's become a dominant theme only because the location is broad, not because crime has never been an issue for the Black community. But what has happened is that it's become the dominant issue, and so those issues that have also been important to the brown and Black communities have been overcome by the focus on crime. And so education and economic development and equity and police brutality and those things that we have had a momentum in trying to reverse and then on it took us a back seat to the crime issue. I think it's given Vallis an advantage because he has become the law and order candidate, and in some ways as willing. But it has become, as the brothers say, a real dog whistle that he gives to the white community to say that I can lock up these people who are criminals, i.e., those folk who are in these other communities that are down in your communities, robbing you, that's carjacking you. I can take care of that crowd. And they understand what he's saying, and he understands what he's saying without actually saying it.
Well, indeed, Kevin, that's something that you have really put a laser-like focus on that. And why do you think that it's clear that the dog whistle politics are of concern to you? Why are you concerned about the dog whistle politics in the Chicago mayoral race?
I'm very concerned because I think it's a divisive issue. I think it's, I have this great fear that the next mayor could turn into, we could have a city council and a mayor that just spend the time fighting with each other as opposed to fighting for people of Chicago. I think the city has a racial divide, and I think it would, I think if Paul Vallis is elected, we're going to have a much more divisive city council, particularly fall along race lines. That's just not good for anybody.
Kitty Kurth, what do you see? Because you've brought up affordable housing, economic development in the short term and the long term. You're looking at, when you look at affordable housing, of course, you have to look at homelessness. You have to look at really just how we're going to exist, Kitty Kurth. Do you see any of the candidates really focusing on those issues? Outside of crime?
Well, first, I have to say that Dwight, as usual, put single right on the problem. It's not necessarily that crime has gotten worse, it's that crime has changed its venue. And all of the news producers and reporters and assignment editors told us that we were seeing time on their draft. So, Dwight had it hit the nail right on the head. I thought affordable housing and homelessness because it's at the base of people feeling safe and people being able to get a job and people being able to worry about anything else. You don't feel if you don't have the safety, the personal safety of knowing where you're going to put your head every night and knowing that, you're going to be able to have somewhere to come home to after your job or after school. It's kind of the basic thing. These people have to have a home and they have to have food in their stomach. After that, we can talk about everything else.
And we've got so many vacant units and of housing, not just in the United States, but specifically in Chicago. I mean, people can be housed if we have the will to do that, Kitty Kurth.
We've got vacant units, but they need to be brought up to health and safety standards. And we've got a lot of vacant land where we could be building modular housing that could be, there are great techniques that have been evolved that are eco-friendly, that can provide people with safe and zero energy usage to live in. Our city needs to invest in them. Our corporate banking entities need to be willing to lend people money to get up and started. But we should be well on our way to solving that part of the problem by next year at this time. If the mayor has the vision and pushes the financial pieces of the city into wanting to truly invest in our future. If we invest in affordable housing, there'll be more jobs, there'll be more to get people into a positive future.
Dwight McKee, I got a couple of minutes before we've got to wrap, and I hope to have you all back in throughout the week because we're going to be talking to these candidates. We really want to hear from them. What do you think that we need to hear from all 9 of these persons?
Well, I think we can hear how more equitable resources are going to be raised and committed to those who for years and years and years, decades, have been left out of the equation. I've been reading the question with some of the candidates. There was a real observation by Al Sampson that we should have a fee on the transactions of the Merc and the Board of Trade. Is that they do trillions of dollars worth of transactions and they live off prerogatives in some ways of the poor who pay the taxes, whose tips sustain those areas, who pay for the police in those areas, who pay for transportation in those areas. They live off prerogatives. The people who surround downtown, the people who make the transactions actually live in the suburbs. Well, they really live off prerogatives of people in the city, but they scot-free come in, make billions of dollars, and keep on stepping. And there should be a fee. I think there should be a fee to those transactions that will raise money for those who subsidize those situations. They can then be reinvested in housing and education and security and police and the teachers. But the fact of the matter is, I think one of the reasons that they don't solve the problem is the best way to solve the problem is to eliminate the problem by eliminating the people. So I think in many ways there's a strategic plan to drive out the people and to turn their vacant land over to these educational entities and these hospitals and these corporate entities. Because all of the real land that's available for use is land that was once owned by or inhabited by the poor and the minorities. And now that land, which used to be the slums in the ghetto, is now the most fertile available land in the city. It's actually really only available land in the city. Mm-hmm. So I think there's been a calculated effort to really get those minorities off the land, which explains why one, they get any equity in the investment, and secondly, the closing down of those 50 schools is all part of that. Absolutely. Well, we're going to be talking about that with these candidates throughout the week. And I'm so glad that I thank you, Kitty Kurth and Kevin Lampe and Dwight McKee for your patience today. But, you were with the president last week helping to organize his visit to Wisconsin. Indeed, we needed to cover that this morning. We are praying for the president to have a safe trip to Ukraine and a safe trip out of there and a safe trip home. Let's talk with Jamal Green at the top of the hour and State Representative Cam Buckner. Who will be mayor? One of these men could be, and then you got two women running too, everybody. Back with more of the Santita Jackson Show in just a minute. Thank you all so much, and thank you for your patience. But Kevin and Kitty and Dwight, I had to pivot to the president's visit. I just couldn't, act like that was something that just happened,
Absolutely. Absolutely. A couple things. Santita asked about lead in our water, lead in our drinking water.
Oh, particularly with
automatic.
Okay.
Yep. And automatic prerogative. Automatic prerogative is something that's very important thing to talk about with these sharp young people.
Well, you know what? Because in fact,
He asked about if you can tax pop, the drinking of pop and
sending Jamal Green through that.
You can tax
transactions
on at the mercantile.
Okay.
And the board of trade.
Well, before you all go, Kitty Kurth and Kevin Lampe and Dwight McKee, say hello to our candidate Jamal Green.
Good morning, Jamal.
Good morning. How are you? How you doing, Jamal? I'm pretty good.
No, Jamal, I'm very sensitive to the pronunciation of names.
Jamal, yeah.
I thought it was Jamal. Okay, because I'm not Santina, I'm Santita. I have to let people know all the time. Okay, because I also understand abbreviations and and all of just how your name is written. So I said it's Jamal. Okay, very good. But of course we've got they will not be on with us, but Kitty Kurth and Kevin Lampe and Dwight McKee certainly want to extend greetings to you. Everybody, you all got about 3 minutes before we come up. And we're on Facebook Live. So Dwight McKee, Kitty Kurth, Kevin Lampe, say hello to candidate Green.
Good morning, Jamal.
Hey, Kitty. How are you? Good morning. Well, Brother Green, let me say that you've been able to conduct yourself in an exemplary fashion and for representing a young constituency. You do us proud in that you really mastered the issues and the policy. And I think you have a real bright future as you move ahead. Your passion and your consistency is very profound, and so you've done us proud.
And plus, he's close to Nina Turner, so he's got to be a good guy. You know, that's my sister. I love Nina.
I second that, and I've been watching JML's career. He's young, but I've been watching him for a long time, and his star just keeps shining brighter.
And Jamal Green sounds like he's sitting with all of his parents, but we're all proud of him. Oh my gosh. Please don't be offended. We're like, oh, look at him. But hey, we're all old enough to be your parents, so there you go. So that's what you just have to deal with, young man who's running for mayor. So, oh, bless your heart. But we're really glad. I'm glad that you're with us, and I know this will not be the last time that you're on the show. I'm looking forward to much, much more. Much more. So, okay, my dear Kevin Lampy, you want to say something to Jamal before you all go?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna echo all this. I feel like we're all good dancing up this year. Keep up the good work, you know, and keep speaking up and speaking out. You did a terrific job at the Rainbow Push People's Forum, and I think you impressed people who hadn't had a chance to hear you yet. But as Kitty said, we've been watching you and working with you for a long time, and you're going to be you are the future of Chicago. I appreciate it. Hopefully, it'll sway your vote.
I'm working on him, Jamal. I'm working on it.
Working on it, you know. It's always as everybody listens to me when I come on Santita show. I know I'm not voting for Paul Dallas, so the decision is still out there. That's for sure.
If I get one more call from one of Paul Vallis's supporters getting mad with me because of your position, oh, man, I'm like, really? Y'all, they want to know why I let Kevin on the show. I said, precisely because he has his position. How about that?
Just give them Kevin's phone number.
Oh no, he wait a minute. He knows you guys. Are you kidding me?
Frank, nothing good. We worked for my big Arkansas Paul Dallas.
I said, Lord, this man's gonna get me in more trouble. It's gonna get me in tons of trouble. But that's all right. If you know, well, I'm very excited that Mr. Green is with us today. And just to be appropriate, Jamal, I will call you Mr. Green during the interview, okay? Because that's a quick.
Mayor Green works too.
I beg your pardon? What did he say?
60 seconds, everybody.
All right, everybody, here we go. Oh, okay, that's great. All right.
Take care. We'll be listening in here.
Thank you so much. Love you all. Love you much. I'll call you a little bit later today.
Very good.
Okay, I was about to say I'm hearing nothing. Okay, all right. Hey, everybody. Happy Monday, February 20th, 2023. Just 8 days away from the mayoral election in Chicago. Will we have a runoff? If one of the 9 candidates does not get 50% plus one, that's what we will have. We're going to have two of our candidates with us today, Jamal Green, who has been exciting everyone for quite some time with his activism and organizing, and State Representative Cam Buckner. Both of them have shown us mastery of the issues, and we're very, very excited and honored that they will be on this show today. I'm Santita Jackson, coming to you from WCPT in Chicago, the nation's largest progressive talk radio station, and AM 950 radio, the voice of progressive Minnesota. It is a joy to be with you. We're streaming on WCPT820.com and AM950radio.com. And please meet my morning stars on the Santita Jackson Show YouTube channel and the Santita Jackson and Friends Facebook page. Happy President's Day, everybody. Happy President's Day. Indeed, I have to put Frederick Douglass in that because it's his birthday around this time as well. And so he's one of the founding fathers of the new America, everybody. And we dedicate the show in a special way to President James Earl Carter, affectionately known as President Jimmy Carter, the nuclear scientist, the peanut farmer who became the president of the United States. Indeed, he has really stood alone as an absolute symbol of decency and fairness, calling out injustice everywhere, all around the world, fighting imperialism, battling cancer, teaching Sunday school, building houses for humanity, habitats for humanity. He and his beloved, beautiful forever First Lady, Rosalind Carter. We just thank God for him today. He has opted to not get any more care. He said, look, it's been a great life. I want to go home and be with my family. God bless you, President Jimmy Carter, everybody. And we will be talking with Jamal Green in just a couple of minutes. And as we speak with Mr. Green, we will also pivot to State Representative Cam Buckner at the bottom of the hour to find out what their plans are for Chicago as they run to be mayor of Chicago. Let's get to a few of the headlines before we get to Mr. Jamal Green. The NBA All-Star Game, everybody, it seemed like they were going to hit 200 points last night. I don't know what to tell you. Team Giannis and Team LeBron. Team Giannis, 184. Team LeBron, 175. But LeBron James made history. His 19th appearance, and he is set to have many more appearances. He will be the all-star of all time, everybody, of all time. Certainly, I heard Charles Barkley say, you know what, you can't compare Kareem to Michael Jordan, to LeBron James, to Kobe Bryant. These are all men of different eras, and they were all great in their time. And I think we just need to celebrate the greatness that we see in LeBron James and Steph Curry and Dwayne Wade, and on and on and on and on. I agree with that. The MVP of the game last night was Jason Tatum, who put on quite a show. Blessings, blessings, blessings to everyone. Everyone today is talking about President Biden's surprise trip to the Ukraine. Of course, he was going to Poland. Well, he took a little bit of a detour, everybody. And so he is in Kiev, went to a church with President Zelensky and pledged more support for the war. And those are just some of the headlines on the Santita Jackson Show. I want to abbreviate them so that we can get to, on this day, Jamal Green. He is someone who's been really so impressive, so young, and yet so seasoned, so aware, not just of the issues, someone who just absolutely, I would just dare I call you a policy wonk? I think you're really into policy. Most of us do not want to dig in the weeds that way, but you have absolutely done that. Of course, he's been a Bernie Sanders surrogate, under the tutelage of our dear friend, sister beloved, Ohio State Senator Nina Turner, one of the leading progressives in the country, indeed, in that space. Black Lives Matter, someone who fought to preserve the dignity and for justice for Laquan McDonald. But he's continuing that work as he talks about public safety, economic development, and climate change, and modernizing the city government, rooting out corruption. Everyone, I present to you a man who needs no introduction, Mr. Jamal Green. Mr. Jamal Green, I'm so glad that you're with us today. How are you today?
I am good. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. Let me just ask you a very simple question that might yield a complex answer. Why are you running for mayor? Why do you want to be mayor? What do you think you can bring to that office?
I'm running because, you know, as I grew up in my neighborhood, and I saw many of my friends die from gun violence, many of my friends living in abandoned buildings, going into schools without resources to give us the attention that we needed or the wraparound services that a lot of us needed coming from that environment. Just having in the back of my head that I would die from gun violence growing up each and every day, still to this day, thinking that that would be my fate, right? And then never seeing a politician who come into the neighborhood to even talk about any tangible solutions. Like, you know, we didn't have a grocery store. Again, we're shopping at the corner store for our groceries. We didn't have or a liquor store. You know, we didn't have resources in the community where folks can get jobs. We didn't have, you know, the investment into young people, pipelines, middle class jobs. So I'm running because there have been too many people left behind, too many people that have been rejected by the government, too many people who haven't been heard. And as an activist and organizer, I've been their primary voice for over 12 years now, since I was a teenager. And so I'm running to be that voice in City Hall, to bring everybody together in the city, to move forward policies that will benefit everyone, where anyone can grow and thrive, no matter the neighborhood, no matter the income status, and we all can have a great future.
You know, indeed, the corporate media have helped they have shaped the issues in this campaign. They've talked about law and order, dog whistle politics. We have to be careful of that, almost to the exclusion of other issues. You've sought to highlight the equitable distribution of resources, not just what's happening in the park districts, but of city contracts, of really developing the south and west sides. Can you speak to that? I mean, what are the other issues? Aside from public safety, I mean, because people talk about the crime on the ground, but no one's talking about how people are feeling as they ride the L, as they ride the buses. We were approached at the Rainbow Push Forum. People said, "Wait a minute, do you know how scared I am to ride the bus? How scared I am to ride the train?" So, talk to me about the other issues that you see need amplification in this mayoral race, Mr. Green.
Well, I think, you know, when people talk about public safety, most of the candidates in this race love to talk about more police, right? And that's a problem for me because you can't police your way out of poverty. And so poverty is a huge issue that I talk about a lot, how to get people out of it. And then we have to tackle all the root causes of what's going on in public safety. So when you talk about poverty, you're talking about mental health and reopening up mental health clinics. You're talking about reentry programs for those folks who return home so that they have the resources that they need so that they can be successful in their middle class lives. We talk about the lead and the pipes. There's 380,000 lead pipes in the city of Chicago right now. That could be a massive jobs program, and we could be putting people to work, giving people careers, as well as you know, getting the poison out of our pipes, right? You know, so there are so many different issues. A lot of them tie into each other. Of course, when you talk about public safety or CPA, it's the problems that are happening in the neighborhoods that exacerbates to the public transit. It's a mobile homeless shelter right now. Like we're not putting enough resources to have real temporary housing and permanent increase our affordable housing supply, which is why I call for the creation of a public bank in the city of Chicago so that we can have the economic engine that invests in public housing, invests in mortgages, invests in small businesses. A lot of money that comes back can go back to city services. It's not going to invest in private prisons like the other banks, and the other banks are not partners in development. So we need our own economic engine, and that's why we need a public bank in the city of Chicago. But there are definitely a variety of issues that I talk about, that I make sure that I talk about what's really going on at the grassroots level, not just saying we got to throw more and more money at police, because that will not get us out of this situation.
But to your credit, you're also helping young people and many of us who've just kind of tuned out of politics. Help us to see how the city works, how politics works, the equitable distribution of resources, about the economy. You know, some people are beginning to bring up, and indeed Alderman Sawyer did bring up the fact, as a former stockbroker himself, the billions, if not trillions of dollars of business that and transactions at the Mercantile Exchange, at the Chicago Board of Trade. And there has been, people have said, perhaps we should tax those transactions. I mean, please, if you can tax a soda pop, a piece of gum, why not that, or work out something so that, they make this money in Chicago, Mr. Green, and then they take it right out of Chicago. Is that something you'd be willing to explore even?
Well, I'm willing to explore it. Here's the biggest problem. The biggest problem is that we have to determine, is it better to tax them on a federal level or a city level? Mm-hmm. Because the problem is that if we tax them on the city level, a lot of them will just pack up and go to a different city so that they don't have to pay that tax. Mm-hmm. When we tax them on a federal level, they can't move anywhere because they'll be taxed regardless of where they are in the country, right? So that's one of the things that we really have to determine and really see what that impact looks like. And another thing is, we have so many efficiencies in our budget. We got to make sure that we are getting rid of all of the waste and all of the privatization, all of the corruption in our budget. I mean, we got administrators, supervisors, administrators, go on and on again, who's making six figures, they making six figures. They don't even have real job titles because of corrupt jobs that they put in place for their plans. There's probably $1 billion in efficiencies in our government. And a lot of it is getting rid of the waste and prioritizing the money where need be. And I know you talked about, one of the biggest things I want to push is that we have to bridge the racial wealth gap in this city. Mm-hmm. And one of the things is about the contracts, right, that are coming down from the city and the state. We have a $28 billion enterprise, so whether supplies, construction, et cetera, we don't see, Black people getting those job opportunities. So one of the things that I talk about is that we need to remove Black people out of minorities. And we need our own identifier when it comes to the contracting process. So we have our own set aside, and we make sure that these contractors get the amount of contracts that they're due, as well as if they don't have bonding or insurance, that the city will step in and we will bond them. So we have to be intentional about bridging the racial wealth gap so that we can create opportunities for these communities, so that we can create folks, middle class, that can own homes and open up businesses. Your first business license should be free in the city of Chicago. We got to do what we can to create a new tax base in the city so that we're not continuing to balance our budget off of property taxes or the poor people taxes like red light cameras and tickets, etc.
Indeed, we're talking with Jamal Green, Mr. Jamal Green, candidate for mayor, noted activist, noted political organizer, someone who is so adept at policy, and we have been getting a lot of information from him this morning. We urge all of you to vote. You can vote in your wards right now. Please vote, 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 vote. The last day to vote is February 28th. Indeed, this is the voting season. We are looking at this unfolding environmental disaster in East Palestine, Ohio. Something that could happen to any of us at any time, but it's a disaster that is spreading. We're watching wildlife that is dying, people's pets that are dying, the lakes, the rivers, the streams, the fish are dead, people are sick. And yet we have lead in our water. We keep looking at Flint. My point is, Mr. Green, we look outside of Chicago when we've got a real lead in the water problem right here in Chicago. What can we do about it? What can we do, to amplify it, identify it, and really have a plan to do something about it? What can be done about it?
Well, we must make sure that we have a fully funded and fully staffed Department of Environment. I think that's one of the biggest things that's important, as a department that really focuses on this problem, because we're going to have a real problem in several years, and it's going to be due to these mayors who keep on passing the bucket and not doing anything about the problems that are really hurting communities. I mean, we just had a report that showed that the mayor knew about the explosion that was happening on the west side
with a pollutant, and they didn't do anything about it, and the explosion happened, and it affected a lot of people, right? We really must start to put together a plan for how we're going to address our environmental crisis. Now, the lead pipes, of course, is a huge issue, right? They promised to change a lot of the pipes over the last 4 years. They've only changed 400 out of the 380,000, just 400. So there has to be an urgency there of really changing these lead pipes, because the city of Chicago mandated these pipes up until, I believe, the late 1980s. And so, we have the obligation to change these pipes so we can stop poisoning children. We got to make sure that everyone has water filters. It would be one of the first things we do, to make sure that they have water filters until we can change these pipes. We're going to prohibit these lead service lines. We are also going to make sure that we create a massive green jobs program for the folks in these neighborhoods so they can help change these lead pipes. And then in regard to the pollutant companies who want to set up shop in our neighborhoods, we need to have districts that are just for them, away from residential neighborhoods. There's land all over the city, even on the southeast side where the steel site used to be. We need to start to look at more land opportunities for these industrial pollutant folks to be that are away from neighbors that it can affect. This is a huge problem. When you look at the asthma rates, when you look at different health disparities, the top ones are on the south and west side. And that's because the air isn't as clean. That's because the water isn't clean. That's because they don't have access to fresh food, right? They're living in food deserts, which is why the city needs to have ownership of these grocery stores so that they won't just keep leaving whenever they feel like they're not going to make any more profit. We have to be intentional about the basic human rights of these communities, and clean air, clean water, food access. All these things are super important, and we got to make sure that we're the drive ready.
You came to the attention of so many. You've been doing a lot of work since as you did say, I've known about you a long time, since you were a teenager. What about rooting out police corruption? I mean, that sounds very, very broad, but no one fought harder for Laquan McDonald and justice for this boy, because he was a child, than you. And you were not alone, but you absolutely were in the forefront of that struggle. What about dealing with police corruption today? Of course, we just saw what happened with Tyree Nichols, and we're still finding out more and more about that particular case. And we had Holman Square here. I mean, we just have issues here in Chicago, and there is an absolute divide between the people, certainly of the South and West sides, and the police. What can be done about that? What, as mayor, would you do about that?
Well, as you said, I've been working on this issue for many years, whether it was the Laquan McDonald movement, helping to lead the consent decree, putting that in place, which they don't abide by, or, I led the first week of protest with George Floyd's family. So, I go on and on about how I've really been attached to the issue of policing for many years. So I understand what it takes. And let me just first say what it takes is for us to stop throwing money at police, thinking that and throwing them at every problem, right? Because it's not going to work. So one of the things that we talked about is we would dedicate $100 million to hire 1,200 social workers to start this department that responds to the half of the 911 calls that are nonviolent. Half of the 911 calls are mental health related or homelessness or nonviolent crimes. So we need to make sure that we have people equipped to respond to half of those calls, and police can deal with just the violent crimes. We also need a youth intervention department where we have interventionists that have priority of young people 25 and under, whether if they have truancy problems and drop out or if they get arrested, then a youth interventionist will be appointed, and they'll be able to say, hey, we're going to mandate them to a 6-month mentoring organization instead of just sending them to juvie again, or we're going to give them free housing, free counseling, etc. We have to make sure that we're doing what works and not just continue to throw police at the problem, because it usually ends up in a tragic situation. And we got to root out corruption. Right now, we have a member of the Proud Boys that was
holes in a police department. And the mayor says that they just want them suspended for 120 days. It will be zero tolerance in our police department. If you have any affiliation with any hate groups, you will be fired in the city of Chicago. As well as if you misuse your camera, cut your camera off, impede any investigation because you touch your equipment, you'll be fined up to $5,000 per police per case. We're going to make sure that they get held accountable. We're spending $100 million on police misconduct settlements. We are going to make them have insurance so that they can pay for their own settlements. We got to do what makes sense and what works, and get rid of the corruption in the police department, change the culture, and then add on departments of people who really can respond to the majority of the calls instead of just police.
Mr. Jamal Green, I've got 1 minute. Is there anything else that you would like to say?
Well, I would like to say thank you so much for having me on the show. You are amazing and a pioneer, and I really thank you for having me. And then, I also want to say people can go to our plans at GoGreenChicago.com. It's GoGreenChicago.com. Punch one. You ain't got to scroll. Just hit the first name you see. You open up the ballot. But we are ready for transformational change in the city. Young people are ready to lead. The two most demographics that we don't care about is our young people, the youngest of them all, and the eldest of them all. And we're going to change that in this city and make sure that we make this a better place for our seniors and our young people and bring everybody together to create a future we can all believe in together. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, Jamal Green, everybody. Jamal Green. What's that website again?
GoGreenChicago.com.
Blessings to you. Thank you for honoring us today. And thank you for all of the work that you are doing. As a young person, you're making me feel real good. Not me, the young person. I was once. You are the young person now. Hey, I'm good. I'm glad to be your elder. Back with more of the Santita Jackson Show in just a minute. And that's right. Renee Criswell said he is impressive. And so many people are saying that. Blessings to you. I'm on Facebook Live right now. I want to give you another minute. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Mr. Green?
No, I think that we probably said a lot. But, the main thing is that, this is a real pivotal election. And I know that, folks love to say that I'm the future. But I want people to understand that we're present. And if we don't have the right leadership right now, 4 years, 8 years is a long time. Most mayors stay 8 years. I think this mayor's going to be one term for sure, but most mayors stay 8 years or longer. We are in a pivotal time if we don't choose the right leadership. Our kids are going to experience a lot of these same problems. So someone who really understands what's going on the ground, we need the real type leadership to make a better future for our kids. So that's all I want to say.
Well, thank you so much for that. And can't wait to have you back on the show.
Anytime. Thank you.
Oh, blessings to you. My love to you and your family. God bless you. Thank you so much. Absolutely. Everybody, that's GoGreenChicago.com. GoGreenChicago.com. Hey, State Representative Cam Buckner.
Good morning.
Hi. You know what? We are on Facebook Live. I want you to give out your website so that people can follow up with you after the show. Can you give it out to us right now?
Absolutely. It's Cam with K-A-M for mayor.com.
One more time.
K-A-M, Cam for mayor.com.
And make sure you come on with that, okay? Open and close with that. So just kind of press that on people's mind. Plus everybody, he's a member of the Fighting Illini, okay? That's so as was my father, he was recruited to play football. He did play football there, to be quarterback back in '59.
Yeah, I know it. That's our history. I love it.
Well, no, I'm just glad he left because he met my mother at North Carolina A&T. Thank you. I'm so glad he didn't have a great experience there. I'm sorry. I'm just glad. Oh my gosh. Oh, bless your heart. Bless your heart. But we're going to go through and go through these issues as we have as we have outlined. But I am really glad that you are uh, with us today, not just with me. I'm so happy that you have done that. But when I looked at you, I was like, he looks like he played football. Of course, I'm like off topic right now. And then I said, fighting a lion. Are you serious? He played football down there? Oh, so did Dad. What? I would ask you that.
And one more thing that makes it extremely inclined to your father is that he pledged at the Pie Side chapter will make us 60 seconds to right, as I did as well.
No, you didn't. Are you serious?
Absolutely.
Get out. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yay. Woo. He sure did pledge down there. Oh my goodness. And then, and then he went on to be the president at A&T. And then he, of course, well, the history of your frat. I don't need to tell you anything. Oh, you Omega man. You would be an Omega. You sure would be. I love it. Love it.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Lord help me. Oh. But I'm really glad that you see. I've gotten off topic. Hush, leave me alone. I've got to get back on topic. Well, we're going to go to about 58. So I want to give, and if you could stay with me for about like a minute after, because I want you to say something else to the Facebook Live audience, okay? If you can, I know you're busy. All right, we're coming in. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Santita Jackson Show. We are talking with mayoral candidates. We just spoke with Jamal Green, but now we are honored to have Illinois State Representative Cam Buckner, one of the Fighting Illini, mighty man of Omega Psi Phi, indeed, a public servant from the 26th district here in Illinois. It's one of the joys of this campaign has been seeing young men like you, State Representative Buckner, so young, so able, just willing to serve the public and really coming up with some great ideas. You have a plan to grow the Chicago population. 200,000 to 300,000 African Americans, Black people, have been forced out of this city. You want to talk about city council reform, and we want to talk about affordable housing. There's just so much that is at stake and so much that is on the table right now. But let me start here. Would you please tell us why it is that you are running for mayor, why you want to be mayor, what you hope to bring to that office?
Absolutely. Santita, listen, I think there's something special about growing and blossoming in the actual dirt that you were planted in. I'm a Chicago kid. I'm from here, born and raised here. I'm a CPS graduate. If I do become mayor, I'll be the first CPS graduate to be mayor since Harold Washington. I represent a very diverse district in Chicago. And honestly, my parents moved here my mother came here from a small town in Mississippi in 1955. And she came here because in the town next door to her in 1955, Emmett Till was murdered. And my grandparents at that point realized that they needed to find a way to give safety and opportunity to their children. And Chicago was the place that symbolized that for them. And I realize now that I'm raising my son, who was 14 months old, that that same safety and opportunity eludes many of the young people in this city. And so I'm running for mayor to make a change. I'm running for mayor because I really do believe that we have an opportunity to be the greatest city on earth. We just need the right leadership to get us there.
Well, which takes me to the fact that you've got a young family now. You've got a baby. And so many, every Black person has the talk with their Black son and now with their Black daughters. You have some kind of talk with your Black children in America. What do we do to keep our children safe, particularly in light of police misconduct, which leads to the deaths of so many, as we see in the case of Tyree Nichols and so many others? What would you like to do? What do you see that we need to really root out that kind of misbehavior, these misdeeds on the police force? I mean, do we tie the the compensation, which has cost the city hundreds of millions of dollars. Do we tie that to their pensions? I mean, what should be done?
So we need true accountability, and I've been able to lead the fight in Springfield to begin with that. The reason that every police officer in the state of Illinois now has a body camera is because of the work that I saw for in Springfield. But the truth of the matter is that that's not enough. And Santita, it's not enough just to change policing in Chicago. We have to change Chicago. We have to change the way that we look at, especially our young Black men, and the way that we approach them. I come to this from a very nuanced perspective. My father was a police officer, but he also was my father. Right? And so we had this conversation a lot, and the talk happened on a normal basis between he and I, just about how I maneuver in this space. There are a few things that I've put forth on how we change culture and create accountability in Chicago. But the first thing we have to do is create an end to qualified immunity. Right? For those folks who don't know, qualified immunity is the federal judicial doctrine that protects police officers when they go outside of the bounds of their training and they take life of a person. None of us can go to our job and kill somebody and get away with it. And that should not be true for anyone that wears a badge as well.
We're talking with Illinois State Representative Cam Buckner, a candidate for mayor. And he's got some really interesting ideas that he would like to bring to City Hall. And so let's begin. What about your plan to grow the city population? We've lost so many African Americans now. See, I'm older than you. When I grew up, you had Independence Bank. Thankfully, we now have Seaway once again. This was really the capital for Black business. We were to Black business what Harlem was to culture in the 20s and 30s. We experienced that kind of renaissance here in Chicago, and much of that has fallen by the wayside. What is your plan to spark the growth in population? Indeed, why do we need to spark the growth in population in Chicago? And then what is the plan?
Yes, there are a few things. For a few reasons why we have to do this. First, when you look at Chicago's legacy debt, when you look at our pension issues, the fact that we are in the hole by hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars actually in some cases, when it comes to paying folks what we owe them, we have to look at how we move the needle. And the answer is not more taxes per se. The answer is to grow our tax base, is to invite more people to Chicago, and specifically more Black folks, because as you said, Santita, this was the epicenter of Black culture and business in this country. Harlem was like our little cousin, right? Like Chicago was and is it, right? And so when I talk about growing the population to 3 million people by the year 2030, which is the next census, it does a few things for us. It gives us more federal money coming from Washington, D.C. It gives us more money coming from Springfield. It allows us to be able to stand up business and economics in a way that is helpful for communities that have been left behind. But more importantly, it puts more money and more people into our school system. I know just like you, I'm a CPS graduate, and to me it's very important that we do the work to give our young people the ability to compete in the global economy. We also have to have more young people in our schools. We know we saw 50 school closings, 10 years ago at this point. And we are probably going to have a conversation now about what we're going to do with a lot of school buildings that are empty. But I truly believe that we have the opportunity to welcome more Black folks to Chicago, more folks who are coming here as asylum seekers, more people who are fleeing the climate change revolution around the world to come to Chicago and to live here and be a part of the growth of the great city on earth.
We're talking with Illinois State Representative Cam Buckner about his plans for Chicago should he become mayor. Indeed, he is running for mayor right now. And right now you can vote in your ward through the 28th of February. We have 8 days, everybody. Do not let the minority determine what the majority need. Get out and vote today. State Representative Buckner, let me ask you about affordable housing. Indeed, because of the unaffordability of housing, Black people have been pushed out of Chicago. Many working people are being pushed out of Chicago of all colors. Because of the unaffordability of housing, our housing population, our homelessness population is growing. What do we do about affordable housing in Chicago?
so we talked a lot in my campaign. We talked a lot about Embrace Chicago Coalition for the Homeless. Bring Chicago Home Initiative, which is a increase in the real estate transfer tax only for real estate transfers in Chicago that are $1 million or more, right? And just to put it into context, we don't have a whole lot of $1 million or more transfers here. King Griffin just sold his condo downtown for I think $7 million. I'm sorry, $27 million, and there are other transactions that fall into that space. We have 65,000 unhoused people in the city, Santita, and the unfortunate part about that is that 20,000 of them are young people, are youth in CPS, right? And so I've talked a lot about doing the work to raise that tax to get money, specifically to housing and security, but we had to talk about where we're going to put it, right? So I talk about putting money into the permanent supportive housing space, so we can make sure we stand up those houses. We're also talking about making sure that we can find ways to put money into the New Homes for Chicago program and the Trouble Building Initiative, and putting more money into our non-concrete homeless shelters. There's a lot that we can do. The other thing that I think is really important that not enough people are talking about is that, unfortunately, so many of our women and men who have served this country in the armed forces, they are the folks who are experiencing housing and security in this city. And so they have the ability to use their federal benefits to house themselves, but unfortunately the city is not helping them do that. And so I've also talked about standing up, reconstituting the Department of Veteran Affairs within City Hall to make sure that we are giving these people everything they need when we talk about moving them forward and giving them housing. Chicago has the ability to be the most affordable housing starting city in the country. Under a Buckner administration, we'll do that.
We're talking with Illinois State Representative Cam Buckner, who is a candidate for mayor. What about, and I know you got to be concerned about this as a new young father, you and your wife, as parents. What about the lead in the water? We all know the studies continue to come forward about how lead negatively impacts our children, for example, but it negatively impacts all of us. And we have a lead water problem in Chicago also, which is really not getting the attention that it needs to get. I mean, it's been mandated that the pipes be changed, and only 400 of them have been. What would your administration do about that?
Yeah, this is a big deal, Santita, and I want people in Chicago to realize that this is not a Flint, Michigan problem. This is not a Jackson, Mississippi problem. This is a Chicago problem. And we have 400,000 bed service lines in this city. It's more than any other city in the country. And what we've seen is that the past administration didn't admit that it was an issue, and this current administration has admitted it, but we haven't seen much movement on this. If you listen to the federal government, they will tell you that there is no amount of lead water that is safe for the human consumption. And so we are literally poisoning our people, and specifically poisoning our young people. And so when we talk about lead service lines, I really believe that we have to quadrant the city up into portions from a triage standpoint and figure out the places where we have to do the work first. Places that have pregnant women and young people, we can't continue to poison them, right? And so that is our ways to do that work first. There are cities like Denver and Detroit that have found ways to do this at a cheaper, more effective rate than Chicago is. There's a new trenchless way to actually go into the ground to remove these lead service lines. But the biggest thing, Santita, is that we cannot make people in Chicago feel like it is their problem and their obligation to fix this. This is a city problem, and it's a city problem because the reason we have more lead service lines than anywhere else in the world is that because up until 1986, the city building code required that we use lead to build our service lines. And so this is a mandate from the city. The city has to step up to fix this.
What about, economic development? I mean, that is something that you've spoken to as well. We do not have an equitable distribution of city contracts, for example. You have a lot of entrepreneurs, particularly Black entrepreneurs, who complain, look, when I'm trying to start business or get business from the city, I mean, the process of filling out the papers. I cannot afford to take time from my business to do that. What about economic development, particularly with the most vulnerable communities, with some people who really are fine entrepreneurs? They just don't have the opportunity. They can't get through the door.
Yeah, we have to have a real conversation on economics, especially in the Black community. For Black business owners and Black people in the business community, we have done so much with so little for so long that we're used to it. But the truth of the matter is that we got to be able to move past this. It is okay for city government to be able to help to build Black wealth and to create Black millionaires. And unfortunately, we haven't had an intentional conversation about it. When I talk about contractors, both sub and prime, and professional services, the city hall can lead in the conversation. Unfortunately, when you look at the contract numbers in the city, there are about 11% Black contractors who are getting contracts in the city from city halls. There are about 14% Latino. Those numbers do not coincide with the demographics. And so what I've been very clear about is taking the same route that Harold Washington took. I mean, unfortunately, he wasn't able to finish this as he left us before he was able to get this going. But it's the same thing that Maynard Jackson did in Atlanta. The percentage of contracts that leave City Hall have to go to the percent. They have to be aligned to the percentage of demographics that we have in the city as well. It's the only appropriate way to move the city forward.
Please talk to me about the city council. You know, many people talk about rooting out corruption and making things right there. One of the concerns that you have is reform on the city council. What would that look like? First of all, why do we need it? What needs to be reformed? What needs to be shaken up and changed?
Yes, we talk a lot about aldermanic prerogative, but I think that that's a bit of a red herring. Listen, every person who lives in Chicago, who lives in one of the 50 wards, lives in a space, and 55,000 other people live in that space, and they are represented by an older person. And actually, I like that process. I like the way that is formulated. However, city council for years has not been a very real effective legislative body. The mayor has run the city, and people give me pushback on this because like, you give up your power to become mayor. I get it, but I really do believe that more voices at the table are better. And so I want to make city council a true legislative body, just like we do in Springfield, just like we've seen in Washington, D.C. I think that we need a speaker or a president of the council who is their leader or elected by them. I think that leader needs to then pick the committee chairs, because when it's also we see committee chairs be picked by the mayor, and we've seen legislation killed. I also want to make sure that there's a parliamentarian specifically for the city council so they can get their work done. I really believe that more co-governance is the answer on how we move forward, Santita, and we can't continue to stifle voices. And listen, the truth of the matter is that Chicago is the only city in the country, the only large city in the country that does not have a city charter.
Wait a minute. We don't have a what?
We don't have a charter. So the way that Chicago operates is by a very old, antiquated 1800s state law and by custom and tradition. We're making this thing up as we go along. The mayor is not the presiding officer of city council, but we've done it that way for 100 years, so we continue to do it that way. I think we need a document in place to tell us how we're supposed to operate. Not just because it gives us some format of how to move, but it also stops things from happening like Mansfield being demolished in the middle of the night. It also stops things like the parking meter deal. And some of the, I think, heavy-handed things we've seen mayors do over time that have put the city in a worse position.
So a city charter, wow. What will it do? How would it impact the city council, the mayor, the alderman, and just how business works in Chicago? What would that do?
So it will streamline things, right? It will get rid of kind of the old way of doing things. It will give us a very clear blueprint on what is and what is not acceptable and illegal in this city. It will also
I think, once again, make the city council more of a legislative body and a check on the executive. What's important to me, Santita, is that it's not like power state. Most people like power, but what's important to me is to institutionalize a process in which things can get done in the city so that no matter who the mayor is, whether it's Palmer Valley or Boyd Lightfoot or Chad Buckner or Santita Jackson, that we actually are able to move things for the people of Chicago without getting hamstrung into the issues of the past that have made it difficult to see progress here.
Well, you and I both went and graduated from the Chicago public school system. I was there K through 12, and I'm so proud of it. And I know that when the intentionality is there, you can have you can have nationally competitive schools, but it shouldn't just be the Paytons and the Whitney Youngs and the Northside Preps and the Joneses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We used to have, in my time, the neighborhood schools were nationally competitive. The Kenwoods, the South Shores, Lindblom, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And yet we're closing schools. I mean, what is your plan to revitalize our public schools? Because I would think that we need more schools, not fewer.
Well, I'm glad you said that. Currently, Santita, there is a moratorium on school closings in Chicago. Mm-hmm. So there cannot be any school closings in this city until 2025. That was a law that was passed in Springfield 2 years ago, and I wrote that law. And I carried it. It was my legislation, and I'm very proud of doing that. But I did have to give CPS the runway to find ways to fix what's going on with our school system. I agree. We cannot continue to turn our back on our young people. They are literally our future, and we are mortgaging the future of this city when we do that. As we talked about, I'm a CPS kid just like you, K through 12. I went to Marcus Mark High School. My mother spent 33 years as a CPS teacher. Yes. My little sister is currently a CPS teacher on the south side. My older sister is currently a CPS principal on the west side. This is very important to me and very personal to me. And I'm looking forward to the day that my son can be a fourth generation CPS graduate. But we've got to put more money and more resources into our school system here. Listen, we literally are leaving so many of our young people out of the equation. We have a process called select enrollment, which means that we're selecting who gets the chance to succeed, and we're leaving way too many people behind. So I think Chicago has the opportunity to lead the charge, with the tip of the spear, nationwide on how we fix the school system issue here, and how we really truly invest in young people.
State Representative Buckner, we've got a couple of minutes before we exit from here, and I want everyone to stay with me. He's agreed to just to give a fuller wrap up of where he is on the Santita Jackson Show YouTube channel and the Santita Jackson and Friends page, where we are streaming now. The corporate media have really shaped the message of this campaign, and they have made it all about crime, which has forced one of your fellow candidates to the top of the heap, if you will. But when you talk to people in the community, crime is not the only issue. I mean, crime is now impacting, I dare say, the white community in ways that we've had to live with in the Black community every single day. So we're looking at everything. As you see it, what are the top issues that need to be addressed in this campaign? I've got 2 minutes for you.
Okay, I'm glad you framed the conversation that way, because I'll say this: we talk a lot about crime, but to me, crime is not the biggest issue. Crime is not the thing that we're trying to find a way to deal with. Crime is a symptom. Crime is not the disease per se. The disease is a lack of investment in public safety. And so when I look at public safety to me is not CPD. Public safety is CPS. Public safety is our housing stock, affordable housing stock. Public safety is our mental health issues here. We have to create a city that we can actually put money and resources and time into the things that really matter the most. Whether you live in Inglewood or Edgewater, the things that you need to be able to survive and thrive are the same. You need good functioning schools. You need to be able to have a grocery store near you. You need to be able to have economic vitality in your community. And for way too often, we've we have to invest in the things that matter the most to people. And so what I put forth Santita in my quest to be mayor of Chicago is a true plan for the people of Chicago who love Chicago, who just want Chicago to love it back, and we want a really clear-cut plan forward. We have to build and grow a city where you live does not determine if you live.
What is your website so that people can read more fully your platform?
Absolutely. So it's CAM, with K-A-M, camformayor.com. That's K-A-M for mayor.com.
And you might see Omega Sci-Fi symbols all over it, but don't pay attention to that. Fighting Illini symbols all over that, but don't pay attention to that. It's just you make sure that you go to that website. Wow, and you're right. You and my father did pledge Omega Sci-Fi at the same chapter because he pledged at the University of Illinois. As soon as he got there, he pledged Omega Sci-Fi. But, I'm just so proud of you and the work that you do because as, young people, just very quickly, in about 30 seconds, public service, why? For you.
Listen, that's the rank that you pay to live on Earth. I told you about my sisters who are educators. My mother was an educator. My father was a law enforcement officer. It's what we do. It's just the village mentality. It's giving back to the people who've given to you. And listen, I can go be in somebody's law firm making a lot of money, Santita, but that would not soothe my soul. My soul is with the people of Chicago, and that's why I'm doing this stuff.
Your website again. Your website? Okay, camformayor.com. Stay right here. Love you much, everybody. I'm going to get some closing thoughts from him at the Santita Jackson Show YouTube channel and Santita Jackson and Friends. Thank you, Devin, for a great show. Blessings to you, everybody. Representative, I just wanted you to be able to just stretch out and say whatever it is that you want to say to my Facebook and YouTube families, please.
Absolutely. Well, Santita, thank you for the opportunity. I just want to say, listen, there's a lot of talk about what's going wrong with Chicago and the things that are scaring people. There's a lot of fear mongering happening, but I truly believe that we have an opportunity to create the city that we want to live in, not turning Chicago to some nostalgic version of herself, but giving Chicago the chance to be the city that we always have deserved. I'm a student of history, Santita, and I know back in 1984, your dad did a speech at Kennedy Avenue Baptist Church in Philadelphia, and he said we have a chance and we have a choice. And it is absolutely true in this election. And so I would just implore the people of Chicago to take this seriously, to grab your neighbors, to grab your friends, your family members, your mama, and all of them to vote, because we can truly create the city that we want to see and that we deserve to live.
Well, you are from a family of public servants, and indeed, many people become teachers, as your family have done. They become police officers. These are people who can make a lot of money doing a lot of other things. Everybody who worked for Dr. King could have made a whole lot of money getting a big church and going on about their business, but they saw a need that humanity had and that we still have. That, as my father says about Push can't afford me, but I can't afford not to be here. And we cannot afford to lose people like you, young people who could go to a big law firm. And I'm not mad at anybody who does that. I think that's great. But I'm so glad that you have chosen to serve the people so that you can make our lives so much better. And I know that your son is going to be so proud of you, just so proud of you. Having a father who serves people, that is the greatest love that you can show to God, the love that you have of your fellow human being by saving them, by serving them and saving them. And I thank you for your work. Thank you for your work.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Santita. Thank you so much. I'll just say this. I believe by saying this. I've said this before, but I want to reiterate it. For me, this is not a political platform. It is literally a love letter from a little boy to the city that you grew up in. And I want people to know that despite our difficult days, we've got some great days ahead. And Chicago is going to do what we've always found a way to do, which is rebound and come back and win, because that's who we are.
Amen to you. A love letter from a little boy. You will make me cry. But blessings to you. Thank you so much. And my love to your whole family. My love to your whole family. Just how impressive is Illinois State Representative Cam Buckner. Cam with a K. K-A-M for mayor. Is it .com or .org?
.com.
Okay. camformayor.com. K-A-M for mayor.com. Blessings to you. I'm so glad that you were able to be with us today.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Blessings. I love you, everybody. Can't wait to be with you tomorrow on the Santita Jackson Show. God